Today, we're talking about stubborn belly fat. If you finally want to see your abs, you need to lose the last 20 pounds. But here's the thing, I'm not going to give you 5 science-based steps like a calorie deficit, cardio, and resistance training, because that's not what you need. What you need are cheat codes that are embedded with science. And once these cheat codes are installed, you've won the game of fat loss. Then you want to develop the skill to use these cheat codes effectively. I know this because I've lost and gained my belly fat 5 times in the last decade in pursuit of my National Pro card. This is exactly the same cheat codes I did with my client Daniel, and he'll show you himself how he used these cheat codes to hit 11.9% body fat.
I believe personally that Sculpt by Science was the catalyst to push me over to the top, right? Because I had become very disciplined with a lot of other areas of my life, and then this was like the cherry on top. Surely I was at 11.9, so is being able to do something really hard and then apply it into the rest of your life and say, wow, you know, because of that scenario, because of these people, I was able to push forward in other areas of my life, you know?
Losing weight is easy, but losing fat requires skill. And with that, we need to use the first cheat code, which I call the mindset cheat code. This part was inspired by a creator called Callaway, and the cheat code is broken down into 2 components, the self-belief deficit and a skill deficit, and we'll solve both in this video. So number 1, self-belief. If you've tried losing weight in the past and you've failed, this can be extremely demotivating. Failing to lose that last 20 pounds or getting close to your goal and regaining it can cause a crack in your armor. This can crush your confidence and you can start doubting yourself if you have weak willpower, or maybe your metabolism is broken, or you have poor genetics, or testosterone is too low. I know this because all of these I've suffered with. These are all coping mechanisms to justify your current situation. I call this Hell Island. And the road you built to get to that island is all of that negative self-talk. How to fix this is first you need to let go of all of these excuses, because that's just what they are. There is nothing special about you. You don't have a unique issue with your metabolism or genetics. You're totally capable. What you need to do is write a contract with yourself. This is how a contract to lose the last 20 pounds looks like. Clause 1, you're healthy and there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. From this day forward, I want you to lose 20 pounds from your current weight. And no matter what, I will achieve this or die trying. Clause 2, I will lose these 20 pounds in a minimum of 10 weeks from now. And I want you to pick a specific date and write that in the contract. This is a rate of roughly 2 pounds per week. Clause 3, the reason I could not lose weight was because I wasn't truly in a deficit and that's it. Clause 4, I will track every gram of every food that goes into my body and hit my macros no matter what for the next 10 weeks. Clause 5, I will not go under 10,000 daily steps no matter what. If I fail, I'll compensate by doing my remaining steps in the next day. I will not fail 2 days in a row. Clause 6, I will do my best to sleep an average of 7 hours a week. If I miss that mark, I'll make up for it on the weekend. Clause 7, I won't focus only on the scale, but look at the progress as a whole. My photos, tape measurements, how I'm feeling on a day-to-day basis, and even how I fit in my clothes. I will at least get 1% better daily. A contract like this can be very powerful because now you've set safety rails on your road to the Heaven Island. Every day that you follow this contract, you'll see small bits of progress, 1 step forward, and after 30 days, you won't even be able to recognize yourself. Watch my content for free. It's all there. It's all there. And have that definiteness of purpose and that burning desire daily, right? You'll fail, but you pick yourself back up the next day, like we have in this program, right, Daniel? And
of course,
you'll look at yourself 6 months in the mirror and you'll be like, that's the guy I was looking for.
At the end of this, just like anything very difficult in life that you get through, you effectively rewire your brain. And you will be a new person, not just physically, but mentally, when you're done with a program like this. Absolutely. Because you will look at challenges in life as more attainable, because, right, changing your body composition is one of the hardest things that a person can do.
Personally, I've never let a client down who truly believed in me and in themselves. They wanted it more than anything, and you need to want it too. You need to believe in yourself before anyone ever can believe in you. Guys, for those who've completed a successful transformation, let me know in the comments, did you do this in your own transformation? I want to hear your story. Did you write a contract? What did you do that guaranteed success for your transformation?
If you do it, it is the best investment you will ever have or make for yourself in your entire life. not because of how you look, but because when you walk into a room and people see that you go to the gym and you take care of yourself, it commands a certain level of respect that you don't even have to ask for, and people just think to themselves, wow, this guy takes care of himself. And if he takes care of himself, then he must take care of other aspects of his life. Right? In America, who have six packs, and it's only 1 in 25,000 men that have a six pack, right? And I'm glad to say that I'm one of those guys now. At the end of this, just like anything very difficult in life that you get through, you effectively rewire your brain, and you will be a new person, not just physically, but mentally, when you're done with a program like this.
Now, let's tackle the skills issue. When people usually try to lose weight, they'll start on, let's say, for example, 2,500 calories, and then they'll make a drastic drop to 2,000, then to 1,800, then to 1,500, and sometimes even 1,000 calories. But there's a massive issue that people don't take into account: metabolic adaptation. As you decrease your calories, especially in an aggressive manner, your body will quickly adapt to those calories. Most of the time, that change that you're making is premature. You end up stuck because now these calories are too low and you still have 20 pounds to lose. Instead, I want you to do what I call a descending mountain approach. Start at 2,500 calories, for example, and cut your calories no more than 150 calories at a time. Before you decide to cut your calories, you need to have had a plateau for 10 days and then only decrease. This way, you allow your body to do the work, adapt to the diet, and you can guarantee that you lost the max amount of fat at that level. Be patient. Then decrease from 2,500 to 2,350, then to 2,200, and so on. This way, we can lose the max amount of fat without damaging your metabolism. When you're truly in a deficit, you'll start feeling some of the negative side effects like hunger, decrease in training performance, food noise. These are all the cravings you have. And I want to say this is normal. Don't be weak and give up into those feelings. You're human. But let's say you've been dieting for the last 8 weeks. What we like to do is introduce a dieting break. Think of this as taking a rest on the descending mountain for 7 to 14 days. Go back to your maintenance, and what will happen is these side effects will disappear. You get a mental break from the monotony of dieting, your training output improves, your hunger diminishes. In a lot of the cases, my clients actually start losing more weight because their calories out far exceed their calories in. And after the diet break, you can go back into a deficit, and then you're ready to start descending the mountain again. Instead of just crashing it completely, you'll feel completely reset and you'll be ready to go for another 8 weeks. You'll also see that this becomes your new normal, and keep repeating the cycle, and you'll see how easy it is to drop the last 20 pounds and break the plateau.
So when we started, I remember we were about probably 1,950 calories. And then we gradually, I think every week and a half, we cut it down by 150 calories, if I remember correctly. And that the first phase cut was from 1,950. I remember getting all the way down to 1,350. And then what happened was I got on a call with Mike, and he said, all right, we're going to bring your calories back up to 1,700, and then we're going to cut you back down again. You're getting even more shredded. So I was really excited about that. And that's exactly what happened. So I remember on the second phase cut, I think that was the month that I was exiting the program. I think I was right around 1,650 calories. After I left the program, I basically did another kind of recomp, just went back up to 1,900 calories for 2 weeks. And then I cut all the way down to 1,400 calories again. And that's what I think really blew the top off and got me to the 11.9%, because I just kept doing that pattern that I learned from you guys, up on the calories, cut when you start to feel really, really tired and you feel like your energy is going down, bring the calories back up, resaturate your body with glycogen, and then do the cut again, right? So until you establish that physique that you want, right? So, and I don't know if really people pick up on this stuff the way that I have. I don't know, but I think to me, it's those nuances that either you get or just go right over your head, right? So, and that to me is that's the gold for me, Dr. Mike, that balance beam that I learned from you guys.
Cheat code number 2, Nutrition cheat code. This is, for example, Whole Foods versus Walmart. Let me explain. Let's look at calories that you eat in a day as your total amount that you can spend on your credit card. And to lose fat successfully, you need to spend it all every day, but you also need to fill up your grocery cart. In this case, your grocery cart is your stomach. So let's say you're at 2,700 calories and that's what you have to spend. It's easy to have bread in there, that 80-20 lean ground beef, maybe even a protein bar. But as you stop dropping your calories, you decrease your budget. Let's say you're at 2,000 calories. Those foods may not be able to fill up that cart, filling up your stomach, making dieting for most very difficult or even unsustainable. So instead of bread, you could go for a low carb wrap, change the 80-20 lean ground beef to 95-5, the lower fat variation. And instead of the protein bar, you can eat blueberries and strawberries or even popcorn that's higher in volume. You want to get the most bang for your buck. So what I've done is I've created a cheat sheet for you that you're seeing on the screen right now, and you can screenshot it. This will help you make smart food cheat codes, and it will feel like you're not even dieting. So you can see some of my favorite swaps like butternut pumpkin instead of potatoes, high protein ice cream instead of the regular ice cream, zucchini noodles instead of pasta. So you can take a screenshot of this, and the next time you go grocery shopping, you can make smarter choices. Because you pick these budget-friendly calorie options, you'll see how incredibly full you are and how easy it is to lose the last 20 pounds. I'll actually link a video in the description that shares with you 20 recipes, 5 breakfasts, 5 lunches, 5 dinners, and 5 snacks that are easy, repeatable, and enjoyable, and they're calorie friendly. But you need to make these swaps to make this process sustainable. I could never lose weight eating rice at 2,000 calories because I'll just be so hungry. Again, I would love your feedback. Let me know if you enjoy this format where I have a client interview sharing their personal journey mixed in with actionable steps that you can take. Let me know in the comments, and if you want more of these videos, just even simply leave a like. We have so many of these that we can share with you. Let's move on into cheat code 3, the precision cheat code. Let's say that you had to get a very complicated surgery. Touch wood that never happens. Would you choose the surgeon who will complete the surgery the fastest? Or would you choose the surgeon who would be the most precise doing the surgery? I'm sure you'd pick precision all the time, and that is a skill that you need to develop. So you can totally get away with loosely tracking your calories, eyeballing to lose that first 20 pounds, and you're even eating out. But to go from good to great, every single aspect has to be measured. Why precision is so important is for a few reasons. Number one, did you know the FDA allows for the labels of the foods that you buy to be 20% off? So if you see a serving that says 200 calories, it could be as low as 160 or as high as 240. The second reason is when you calculate your calories, right, that math equation, those numbers are just in theory. You need to put it into practice. And the other aspect of your calories out, you need to know how much did you burn more or less on that day for that equation to work. So what this means is that, number one, at a basic level, the day before, you want to plan what you're going to eat, and then you want to measure everything that you put in your body. This way, you know you can consistently keep the intake the exact same. Now, so many people talk about how tedious this is. I always hear, Mike, it's so tedious, it's so difficult. Let me share with you some things that you can do to be able to cheat it. Number one, choose one day per week and meal prep. You're essentially streamlining your entire week into a few hours on the weekend. And what I like doing myself is barbecuing all of my protein sources on the weekend and have them measured out. This will save you a lot of brain focus and time. 2, you can ask your wife or your husband or someone in your family, a relative, to measure the food for you. Maybe even just give them like $50 or $100. Number 3, you can pay a meal prep service or a restaurant to do this for you. We tend to find these for our clients as well. Number 4, you can hire a chef. And what we do, and this is the more expensive one obviously, is we'll even communicate with a chef and tell them how to make the meals exactly, So if you ask me how I do it right now, for example, to give you context, I'm running a company of 15 people all over the world. So I'll meal prep my chicken and beef every Saturday at my parents' place. And from Sunday to the next Saturday, I'll eat the exact same foods. And this way I don't have to change too many variables, right? This is how I compensate for the mistakes the FDA will make, for example. My wife will measure and prepare the meals for me. And this is my personal streamlined process. You can come up with your own, but you want precision.
A lot of us don't realize that our own worst enemy sometimes is the person staring back at you in the mirror in the morning.
Amen.
And if you're trying to change your body composition and you're listening to Dr. Mike and Coach Max, like, and I don't want to say this to offend anybody, just don't question what they're telling you to do, because it'll just make your time just go that much faster, you know?
Cheat code number 4, the cardio cheat code. Cardio by far is the most used tool to accelerate fat loss, but most of the people are using it incorrectly. If you do too much cardio, you'll be extremely hungry all the time. You'll eat those calories back. It can impact your strength, consequently impacting and resulting in muscle loss. It can eat into your muscle directly, and most of the time, it's unsustainable. You may not be able to do it 365 days per week, which is what you need to keep that fat off once you lose it. So here is the cheat code to make it work perfectly for you, and you can even screenshot this. What cardio did you follow, if you could share that with us?
Yeah, so in the beginning, I was, in the first 2 weeks, I was doing 8,000 steps, and Max was like, we got to get you up to 10,000. So quickly moved to 10,000. Then I think probably a week later, I was right at 15,000 steps. And in the beginning, it was in the winter, hard of the winter here in Boston. I was in the mall a lot, walking as much as I could every day, taking business calls, like on the phone, just getting my steps in, like making no excuses. And then the snowstorms got kind of bad. So I got one of those under the desk, treadmills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was incredible. And I was just getting steps in right here in my room as I was working and on the phone, and, as the springtime came up, like I was probably like around March, I was getting in like 20,000 steps, multiple times a week. And, I remember probably right around end of April on Fitbit, I got the Serengeti badge, which was like I walked the amount of miles in the Serengeti, which is like 800 miles. And I'm like, I just walked more miles than I've ever walked in the last probably 5 years of my life, So that was just on the step side.
Now that we have steps as a foundation, we also want to add in formal cardio. So basically, you want to do a number of sessions per week at a set duration with a target heart rate of 130 to 140 beats per minute, and choose the correct modality, like the treadmill, Stairmaster, elliptical, anything that's low impact. On the screen, I'm sharing with you a cardio protocol. Depending on where you are in your journey, if your goal in the moment is to max out fat loss, you can go down the list, but you should know that you want to taper back up just so that you can mitigate some of the risks that I mentioned earlier.
On the cardio, I was doing high intensity. So I was watching you on the treadmill with your videos that you were releasing weekly in this weekly channel. And I was paying attention that you a lot of times do full incline or nearly full incline. And that's how you're going to get the best, calorie burn, is when you're doing the max incline. And then I put a little twist on it that every 30 seconds, I'm sprinting on that incline.
Crazy.
So, and I think the most calories I burned in 30 minutes doing that was like 890 calories. And I was getting like 24 METs. And people were like looking at me like, you've been here for half an hour running on this incline. Like, what are you, crazy? And for me, every time I would go in the mirror the next day, I would see a slightly more of a difference and slightly less like fat. And like, if you don't become obsessed with yourself, it makes it much harder, So shut out all the noise in the world. Don't listen to anybody. Listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Max, Coach Max and Dr. Mike, and just follow the recipe and you'll get there, And if you can push it up a notch, like from time to time, without overtraining yourself and going outside the bounds of what it means to stay within the framework of your training, then fine. Like I remember actually I did something I shouldn't have done, probably in April. I did an hour and a half cardio session. An hour and a half. I told myself, you know what? It's been so long since I pressed myself since the military physically. What can I do? Like, I want to see how far I can go. And I literally did that up and down, incline, high intensity for an hour and a half. And I tell you, I was wasted for like 4 days. I literally could not do cardio for 4 days. And I remember telling Max, I was like, Max, I'm like destroyed. I need to take a break from cardio for a couple of days, you know? But that was like my limit. And I wanted to see like where I could push myself, right? And I remember I had like a little tiny pain in my ankle. And, you know, those are the things that'll happen to you if you push yourself too much and beyond your limits, and when you don't listen to your trainers and your coaches, right? So that's why it's very important to stay within your framework, listen to the people who understand this process more than you, and just do what you have to do to become successful.
So again, you want to do informal cardio that you're going to do the rest of your life every day. This way you keep your calories burnt up. And then you want to incorporate formal cardio when you want to add fuel to the fire. Cheat code number 5, and by far the most underrated cheat code. Why? Whenever I go to the gym, I see this mistake every day. People training poorly, people not using the best weight that they can, people using incorrect form, and focusing on all the wrong things. Training is so important. Number one, if you're in your 40s to 50s, it is the elixir of life. It is the most powerful longevity drug. The more muscle you have on your frame, the better. You will live longer. There's a direct correlation. So even if you're in your 30s and 20s, you want to start building your muscle tissue now. What I don't see enough people doing is, number one, you want to do it with correct form. Because let's say you're doing a bicep curl and you're swinging every time. The idea is for that weight and the tension to translate to your bicep. But because you're swinging, you're translating that, say, 20 pounds to your obliques, to your back, and to all the other muscles. That doesn't matter. You want to translate 90 to even 100% of that particular exercise to the target muscle. And this way you'll get 2 times more growth at that particular one. So you want to focus on form. Number 2, what I don't see and I never see is people tracking their weight, because what can happen is after 2 months, you can be using the same weight and virtually making no progress. But if you're writing it in a paper or writing it in an app, you can visually see if the weight has changed or not and continuously push yourself. So many people go in the gym to get in and to get out. And on top of that, you want to be able to know that, okay, each and every single exercise, even if it's some, I am getting better at in terms of weight or in terms of repetition or even both. And this is what's called progressive overload. And why I focus so much on training is the more muscle mass you have, the lower body fat percentage you'll have. And also, muscle is an active tissue. It'll increase the biggest part of your metabolism, which is your basal metabolic rate. Muscle burns 7 times more calories compared to fat. So the more muscle you have on your frame, the better result you'll get. That's why it's so easy for me now to build muscle and lose fat and going through that process. So if you put so much focus on that, it'll be your long-term investment. Consider it your S&P 500 or your savings account into the future. But I'll leave the video here. A big thank you to Daniel, your star client, Coach Max. Thank you for believing in my dreams and in the company's dreams. But I'll leave the video here. That video that I talked about earlier, showing you an exact training plan to follow, the recipes. Literally, I built this video so that anybody can lose weight, build muscle, and lose the last 20 pounds. It's this one right here. So click on that to watch it next. See you in the next one. Cheers.